Shelley, you been a guinea pig long enough?
올여름 극장가에 짐 캐리의 케이블 가이와 쌍벽을 이룰 새 코미디 영화가 선보였습니다. 우리에게는 베버리 hills 캅 시리즈로 잘 알려진 에디 머피의 새 영화 너디 프로페서가 그것으로 특별한 분장 기술로 개봉도 되기 전에 화제가 되고 있는 작품입니다. 클럼프 교수는 가족 전체가 타고난 선천성 비만을 문제로 가지고 있는 사람입니다. 400파운드가 넘는 자신의 몸무게와 거구의 체격에 늘 불만을 가지고 있던 그는 다이어트와 운동 등 각종 살 빼기에 돌입하지만 만족할 만한 그 결과는 얻지 못하게 됩니다. 그러던 어느 날 클럼프 교수는 획기적인 체질 변형 공식을 발견하게 되고 그 공식을 터득한 그는 직접 자신에게 실험을 하게 됩니다.
What's your name?
It was 3.5 hours to do the clump makeup, and the Lance Perkins makeup, which is the kind of Richard Simmons one, was more like 8. It's just to try to get that. You said it looks so real. I mean, that's what's really hard. It's just that to figure out what those things are, those little subtle things are, that make it not be a makeup and make it be a real thing.
완벽한 상태가 아닌 상황에서 그 실험은 클럼프 교수의 모습을 바꾸어 놓게 됩니다. 새로운 체질 변형 공식을 완성시키려는 노력을 거듭하던 중 그의 인생에 사랑이 시작되고 그 대상은 같은 학교에 새로 부임한 화학 교수 칼라입니다.
Hello Korea and hello Russia and go see Nutty Professor. I know the movie's funny and you'll have a good time if you go see it.
You know, I feel the exact same way about you, Miss Purdy.
칼라에게 잘 보이고 싶은 클럼프 교수는 그녀의 관심과 사랑을 얻기 위해 아직 완벽하지 않은 이 실험을 자신에게 계속 시도하게 됩니다. 드디어 칼라와 로맨스가 이루어지는 순간 이 체질 변형 공식에 심각한 부작용 현상이 나타나게 되고 이로 인해 여러 가지 사건들이 벌어지게 됩니다.
What I meant to say was that
헐리우드의 고난도 분장 기술과 1인 치력을 혼자서 훌륭히 소화해낸 에디 머피의 연기력이 돋보이는 너디 프로페서는 웃음으로 더위를 식히실 수 있는 절호의 기회가 될 것입니다.
Oh, give me gas. Look, you won't have to go catch a cab, and I got to go to the drugstore and get some Benadryl and a Kaopectic. Excuse me. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Buddy, wait!
Y'all know me!
I don't know that fool.
It's Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Fabulous!
And Eddie Murphy, as you've never seen him before. Bless you! And this man is the genius behind effects like that. Rick Baker is one of the world's top makeup specialists. He did An American Werewolf in London and hundreds of other films. Rick's won 3 Oscars and has created some of the most remarkable effects ever seen. But the Nutty Professor was his scariest challenge yet.
The work that I did in Nutty Professor is kind of the hardest kind of thing that you can do. I've done all kinds of things. I've done aliens and gorillas. People don't see, you know, fantasy characters every day. But overweight people you see every day, and the audience is a lot less forgiving on that kind of stuff.
Penis! Don't you dare say something like that about Mom.
So how did Rick turn Eddie Murphy into Heavy Murphy? Well, the first thing he did was get him plastered.
It's not just his face, but his entire body that we cast.
From that, they made a rubber suit.
This is what Eddie wore under his costume to make him appear to be 450 pounds, and it's basically very lightweight urethane foam that we hand-carved into these shapes, and then it's covered with a lycra spandex skin like this, so that it would slip and slide under his costume.
Parts of the suit were filled with cellulose and water to make sure he wobbled in all the right places. That's fine when he's fully clothed. But what about when he's stark naked?
This flesh was made from silicone to make sure the flabs sagged. The body was modelled on a local 19-year-old. It was then moulded into a shell, and all Eddie had to do was slip inside. The handiwork is incredible. Every part fits like a glove. You know, you've really got to hand it to Rick. But his biggest challenge was not creating fat bodies, but the faces to go with them.
This plasticine is like modeling clay like kids play with, is, you know, gradually built up onto the face until we get something that resembles a Sherman makeup. Or in the case of this here is a representation of what the mother looked like in plasticine. So all these features are all sculpted in plasticine. The pores are all put in there. The hair obviously isn't plasticine in the end, but this helps us look at it as a design.
Fabulous!
A negative mold is made of that. The plasticine is cleared away, and the void space that was once taken up by clay, then we inject foam rubber into that, bake it in an oven, and we pull out this piece that we call an appliance.
Once the lower half of the face is complete, it was time for a spot of beauty therapy and a makeup session.
In a not very glamorous way, the first thing we actually did was put a plastic bag on his head, which helps us slide this piece over and try not to rip it. Then we attach it to his face with the medical glue. So we go through the process of peeling the piece down, painting the glue on his face, putting it back, continuing working up to the edge, which had a very tissue-thin little blending piece. If that edge flips over and sticks on itself or folds over, the whole makeup is wasted. You can't disguise that. So you really want this seamless. You don't want to know where the piece stops. Sherman had a wig, so we put the wig on. When it comes to the painting part, which is the part I really like, because then you're tying the whole thing together, and all of a sudden it goes from a piece of rubber stuck onto his face to one whole cohesive look. It's not, one color. It's not like you have flesh. Many colors are put in there to achieve the real translucency.
The torture lasted for 3 hours every day for 70 days. In the film, Eddie has a unique weight problem that would baffle any Weight Watcher. His weight goes up and down, and in and out, just like that. So how did they do it?
We did these latex bladders that were glued onto Eddie's face, and then a very thin foam rubber piece was put on top of that, and then we could inflate the air into his bladder, and we go back down like that.
It was all too much for some. Then Rick did the Hollywood thing. He gave Eddie an implant.
This again was made out of silicone. We made it all on a denture that we could just clip into his teeth. So when it was time to put this on, it was just like open up Eddie, we'd shove this in his mouth, clips down on his teeth, and he had this big, ridiculous lip.
Using a technique known as morphine, Rick even made the body parts move. How? Well, take this sequence. Eddie provided the first shot, his face. Rick created the final shot, the chin. And a computer filled in the gaps in between. And that's how they did this bit too.
People look at the work that I do and say, how do they do that? It's really, I really feel like I've gotten somewhere if I've done that. If people go, how do they do that? How do they make that man turn into a wolf? How do they make that guy 450 pounds? I find that thrilling. That's what I strive for.
Professor? Hello, Jason.
And as for Eddie, well, he got somewhat hot under the collar and it got under his skin a bit. But
Now that is very nasty.
he had a flabulous time.
Place on Earth. Okay, when we come back, Eddie Murphy plays the Nutty Professor and 6 other roles.
You never brought a girl home. The least you can do is let us talk to her. Yeah, I'd like to get to know her a little better myself.
Ain't nothing wrong with having relations. Don't be ashamed of that. Relations is beautiful.
Are you asking me out on a date?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I'd love to.
Believe it or not, that's Eddie Murphy starring there as a bashful professor named Sherman Klump, who was head over heels in love with a beautiful grad student in that scene from The Nutty Professor. But he's so self-conscious about his weight that he almost lacks the courage to ask her out on a date. The date goes really wrong when a nightclub comic makes fun of him, and in desperation, Sherman drinks a secret experimental potion from his laboratory. He also plays all of the adult members of the Klump family in this scene, which is the funniest one in the whole movie.
And tell you something else. I don't know why everybody trying to lose weight in the first place. Ain't everybody supposed to be the same size. We're supposed to be all different. Big, small, medium, midget. You're supposed to have all of that. You know what your problem is? It don't work out. Got to exercise. Look at me. That's all muscle. Oh, you fat. I'm Murphy.
Oh, look at my little Bill. He's a little Hercules.
Jada Pinkett plays the graduate student who eventually finds herself dating both the professor and his alter ego. And as Buddy Love, Murphy is brash and self-confident, but the effects of the secret potion are unpredictable and strand him in an embarrassing situation.
Miss Purdy, let me tell you, that kiss was probably the most wonderful kiss I've ever... What I meant to say was that,
Your lip.
What?
Your lip. Your lip is swollen.
My lip?
Yes.
Oh, my lip. Oh, that happens every time I... What kind of lipstick do you have on?
Chanel.
Oh, yeah, that happens every time I have Chanel lipstick on my lip. Allergic reaction. Oh, Jim McGann. Look, you have to go catch a cab, and I got to go to the drugstore and get some Benadryl and Kaopectic. Excuse me. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Eddie Murphy's career has been in a slump, but with The Nutty Professor, the slump is over. This is a very funny movie that makes good use of Murphy's talent for disguising himself inside many different characters. Jada Pinkett is a good straight man for Murphy here, and she helps the sweeter side of Professor Klump as it emerges. The bottom line, Eddie Murphy is back.
He is, and it is a spectacularly funny picture.
Yes, it is.
It is really laugh, you know, the old movie phrase that the publicists used to say, laugh riot. This is one of those things.
Yeah.
It is that funny. And I'll tell you part of the secret. Eddie Murphy's been in a slump for a lot of reasons. He's been picking terrible scripts. He's also been playing guys that aren't really that nice. The fat professor is a wonderful guy. You love him, and you want him to be happy, and you feel his pain, and you root for him. So there's a rooting interest, which we used to have in the early days of Eddie Murphy, and now we have it again here.
You know, there's even a little kind of a subtle moment in the movie where he apologizes for being Buddy Love, and he said, I thought that's what people wanted me to be, and I was wrong. Well, you think about it, Buddy Love isn't too different from some of the characters he played in some of these other movies.
That is exactly
and
the
it's
point.
almost like he's telling us, hey, maybe I should get back to the Sherman Klump side of my personality.
The nicer guy. That is absolutely... Now, think about that. I had the same insight, and I will tell you, to put that into a big, funny comedy is wonderful screenwriting. I will say that Tom Shadyac is the director here.
He made Ace Ventura.
The first one. This guy's hot, and so now, again, is Eddie Murphy. Coming up next in this